and welcome back to another Money Tip Monday. I'm Lizzie. I'm a residential loan officer here in the Phoenix area, teaching money tips to help you make smart home purchases. Today on the show, I want to talk about something I know that's a little bit taboo, right? It's money and children. And I know a lot of people have very strong emotions when it comes to, teaching our children about money. But I will say that it's one of the things that I believe is missing in our education system. I think that we're indirectly teaching them about our own money mindsets. And so I want today's money tip to really open up a dialogue, but I think we should be a lot more intentional, especially now when we're living in what could be a crisis economy, what we're teaching our children either intentionally or unintentionally. There we go. Now, before I get into all of that stuff, I am going to ask you to like, comment, and subscribe because I want to grow this community and I want you guys to feel like you're connected with me, and I know you don't want to miss any money tips in the future. So don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. For starters, the reason that I'm so passionate about this is because, one, I've been really doing a lot of interpersonal work on money mindset over the last years. And I will tell you that just for me personally, growing up, I knew financial concepts that were probably way beyond my age. I knew about foreclosure and I knew about liens. I knew about homestead protection. Yes, that is something I knew of literally at the age of 10, that, your equity was protected up to, at that time, $100,000. I learned about lawsuits. I learned about interest. I learned about mortgage interest. And I will tell you that even though my parents didn't directly go, hey, this is how you do your finances, I picked up from an early age what I believed money principles were. It's taken me a lot to just, in my own personal life, to kind of unwind that programming. And so for me, my children are now getting to an age where they're starting to ask me to purchase them things. They're asking to spend money on YouTube. They're asking to buy things on iTunes. And so I just know that they're already programming money principles. And so, now is going to be a time that's probably more important than most because we're at home more than we've ever been before. Money is definitely a topic. It's on the news. It's a discussion at the household table. Right? So we gotta be intentional about what we're teaching. First and foremost, you need to really understand where your own money mindsets are. Now, growing up, I predominantly lived with my mom, who was a single mom for most of my childhood. She worked 2 jobs. She became an engineer. Her beliefs were to invest in real estate. She was always very strong on that. Cash flow was definitely something that she was interested in terms of rental income. She talked a lot about having a stable government job. And I think that was a result of my dad, who is this serial entrepreneur. I mean, highs and lows financially. But, he taught me that everything was solvable with a deal. Like, what could you sell? What could you make happen? And I literally saw him build businesses multiple times at our kitchen table. Now, high risk, right, with not great money management, and then my mom, great money management, but super scarce mentality, right? And mostly because of what they were experiencing. Now, as a child consuming that information, right, I was deathly afraid, believe it or not, of debt. And as I became an adult, funny enough, I ended up getting myself into all kinds of debt, primarily because I didn't want to live without. Right? That whole scarcity of living without caused me to make poor money management decisions. And then the positive side of seeing that my dad could just make money out of nowhere, I, from a young age, started also making money out of nowhere. I would sell people's junk in a swap meet, my dad's grocery store. I sold rocks. I played in a mariachi band. I mean, I had so many different ways of making money as a child that was also really ingrained in my head. Now, with my own kids, I want them to understand that they can make their own money too, and that there's a variety of different ways that they can do this. But the importance of saving, right, and planning, it's really gotta be stuck in them. They need to understand the differences between interests, right? Is it smart to borrow money, right? How do we purchase things? What is a budget? All of these things are so crucial, and I definitely believe that they start when your kids are anywhere between 4 to 5 years old, which I know it sounds young, but let me tell you, these little munchkins these days, oh my goodness, they ask you to buy so many things. And let me tell you, if you've ever done a fun run, these kids know how to sell. To make a long story short, why does all this matter? Well, because your money mindset is what we're teaching our children, right? So it's important for you to understand where you stand on the spectrum, right? And are those the beliefs that you want to pass on to your children? Now, if you're a fan of the channel or you follow me on any kind of social media, you know that I am a big proponent of budgeting and planning. I believe that you should live off of 70% of your net take-home income, and I think that you should be trying to invest about 30% of your net take-home income, right? I want us to be focused on returns. I want us to be focused on debt reduction. I mean, for me, it's all about how we can increase the amount of cash flow in our households. Now, when you have cash flow, though, I think it's also an important thing to pay attention to how much money we're giving back. I've also been a very charitable person in my own personal life. I believe that what you give out in the world is what you receive. So you can never expect to gain if you're not a giver. So now let's get into tactical stuff, right? So I did a bunch of research on the internet for tools to help me educate my children in a way that they would understand, right? We're talking about a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, right? And so money concepts to them have to be pretty basic, but I also want them to be congruent with what I'm personally practicing in our household. So I found this really amazing trio bank, and it's called the Smart Piggy Trio Bank, and it's designed and illustrated by Paul Lee, and it's put out by a company called Giant Super. Now, the concept is very similar to the Smart Steps in that its basic principles are to save, share, and to spend. And so what we are teaching our children, right, is that we've stopped buying anything for them unless it's their birthday or a holiday like Christmas. We're not buying anything from them. They're gonna earn a weekly allowance of $5, and then they get to choose what they want to spend their money on. But we do require them to save at least 50% of it and then give 10% of it into what we call our share fund, right? For future charities and for children that are less fortunate. It just makes them aware that they are very fortunate, right, to have an allowance, but also we penalize them for things like not doing their chores, not sleeping in their beds. And so the money isn't just guaranteed either. They know that they have to put in the work to get the reward. So it's saving, right, sharing, and then spending. What I love about these, right, is that they allow for you to open them up, put the money in, and then there's a log, right, of the dates, how much they put in, how much they have, and then you can write goals for what you're saving for. So we have long-term goals, right, in terms of savings in our household, right? We're saving for things like presents or for like new school shoes or for bigger expenditures that the kids want, like a new video game system, right? These would be longer term savings. You know, things like college and stuff like that. My husband and I do talk to them about savings. I definitely think that this will be something that we incorporate more in the future, right? But this is just for long-term savings goals, right? Then we talk about sharing, right? And again, I always want our kids to be aware that in order to get in the world, you have to be a giver. And so we want to make them aware that a certain part of the money that they earn needs to go back to making the world a better place. And so we try to do at least $1, right? So we're not talking about breaking the bank here. But again, we have a log and a register, and they get to have goals for charities that they like, right? Christmas Angels is always a super fun thing because then they can take from this fund, and you'd be surprised at how often they're willing to take from their own spending fund to donate to charity, which I think is so awesome. And then it's their spending fund, right? So this is like the short-term spending, the candy that they purchase, you know, if they're gonna, you know, take money out to, you know, go to the movies, right? Like this is where their actual like spending money comes from. And again, you know, the largest percentage is going to go in here, but it's cool to see, you know, how much they still have in this, how much they have to save. I know it's been interesting to have Annabelle come to me and ask me to buy stuff, and I'll be like, okay, well, let's figure out how much that costs and say, okay, in 3 weeks we'll be able to purchase that, right? Let's go ahead and document how much money we have. And it's always super fun, and she's been really good about it. And the items that she's been able to purchase for herself, she feels so much pride in. And so it's really interesting to watch her learn how to budget. Penny's still pretty new to this. She would definitely forego doing any of her chores and her allowance. So we're working on that. But it is so fun to see how Annabelle has adapted to this, and it'll be even more fun to see Penny get into this. But this is a really amazing tool. So here's the thing. I'm gonna be giving away a couple of these to viewers. I'm thinking 3, but maybe I'll go up to 5. And essentially, here's what you need to do to enter. I need for you to like and subscribe to the channel, and I need for you to share this video post on social media and tag us, right? We're gonna be drawing all of the people who do that, right? From a drawing, it's gonna be at random, but we're really trying to grow this community, spread the word about SmartSense, and really educate people now more than ever, or not educate, but really encourage people now more than ever to live by these principles, so that in case the God knows what happens to us, that we're always protected, that we have safe environments to live in, and that we're always giving back and able to give back to make the world a better place. So I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are. I'm interested to see you guys enroll in the giveaway. It's a pleasure and such an honor to have you be a part of the community. Let me know if you have any questions, any comments below, and I will see you guys back on another Money Tip Monday.